Answer should be 35. Nothing like yelling over the bell. Answer should be 22. Answer should be 48. Answers on this should be 107. This one should be 28. Pick a number from 1 to 10. You have 30 seconds to bring it up here.
Oh my gosh!
The winning numbers today are 3 and 9. Homework check's going to be on the iPad. Homework answers. Bring up 1 through 3. The answers should be 7, negative 156, and 10. The answers are 68, 22, and 180. Alright, the answers to 7 through 9 should be 2, 240, and negative 26. Correction on 7, that should be negative 2, and 9 should be 2. Answers are 10, 22, and negative 22. Any questions about the homework? Here's an example of a 2x2 matrix, and you have to find the determinant. To find the determinant, you go top left to bottom right first, which is 3 times 5. And then subtract from that the product of the diagonal that goes the opposite direction. So it should be 15 minus a negative 12, which is 15 plus 12. Answer is 27. On a 3x3 for a determinant, you're going to have 3 products, 1, 2, and 3, added together. Those are from your top left to bottom right diagonals. But then you're going to start subtracting products. Be sure that you don't do this. Don't add them all up first and then subtract one number. Subtract one at a time as you go to the right for those diagonals. No papers to pass out, I don't believe. If you still want to retake the air traffic test, you can come in 6th period. To use lists on the TI-83 Plus, that is the objective today. The learning target is, after today, you can enter a list and perform calculations with the list. For example, before you go to the list at all, what you must do is clear all the lists in your calculator so you can start fresh. And you do this by hitting second 0. If you hit second 0, you're going to have this screen on your calculator. Notice in the upper right-hand corner. In the upper right-hand corner, the A is on. That means you can hit any letter of the alphabet on your keyboard and it will jump straight to that section that starts with that letter. What we need is clear all lists. So you can find C on your keyboard by pressing the program button, and that'll take you to the C's. And PRGM is the program button in the middle. That has a letter C over top of it. You press that and it takes you down to the C's. If you have to, scroll down with the down arrow button until you find Clear All Lists. Press Enter on that. You should have this on your screen. And then press Enter again. And it will say Done. So that means it has cleared every list in your calculator, so you don't have to go through cell by cell and hit delete, down arrow, delete, and do all of that. So next we have to go to the list segment of your calculator. So what you can do is hit Stat. If you hit Stat, you're going to get something that looks like this. Does everybody have that screen?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and hit Enter since it's already on 1 there. If you ever come up with a case where you have nothing, you have no list whatsoever, it's not that you have a list and it's blank, but you have no list. There's no L1, L2, or anything like that. Go back to the Stat button and then choose 5. And then hit Enter on that. It should restore your lists back to L1, L2, L3, and so on, if they've been disturbed after that. And you should have this on your screen. List 1, List 2, and List 3, they should all be empty. Yes? Does anybody not have L1, L2, or L3? So here's the example. What you're going to do is go down into List 1. And you're going to put the cursor in cell 1 and enter in these numbers top to bottom. So you'll do the first column first, and then you'll go through and do the next column and the next column. Okay, on this one you're going to go to List 2, and if you hit right arrow from List 1, it'll take you to the first cell in List 2 automatically. And then go down through and enter all of these in. Now that's a terrible picture. The other ones are more clear than this, but I didn't have time to go back and reshoot that screen. But hopefully you can see you have 37 down here if your cursor is in the first blank one at the bottom. That means you subtract 1, you have 36 items in the list. Now here we're going to do some stuff with that list. So hit Stat. If you hit the Stat button, you may have to, in some cases you may have to hit Second Quit, which is second mode to clear out the screen. But in this I don't think you have to, but hit Stat. You should get this screen. And then you're going to right arrow to where you have Calc highlighted in the middle. And you're going to choose number 1. So you can hit the number 1 button or just hit Enter since it's highlighted. 1 var stats, which is what it means, 1 variable stats. And it will say 1 var stats on the screen, but it doesn't know what list to take the 1 var stats of. So what you must do is tell it list 1. So that means you're going to put this, or you're going to tell it list 2 actually, we just use list 2. You're going to tell it L2, and you're going to hit second 2. Notice there is an L2 above 2 there on the keypad. And when you do that, mine was already in L1, so I've used a different list for this, so it doesn't matter. As long as you're using L2, you'll be fine. And then you'll hit Enter after that. And it comes up with these 1 variable stats. Now your numbers should match what I have here on the screen. If they do not, then you've missed a number somewhere, or maybe I have. Does anybody have the mean of 6.16 repeating? Okay, so then we're all good on that. And what all of these stand for are different things we're going to use throughout the class. I won't go through all of them, but you might want to make a note of this now, because that way you don't have to ask every single time that we go through this later on. Of course, this means what? The mean, yes, the average. What is this? It is the sum of all of the items in the list. That would be the sum. And then if you look at this here, it has that same thing squared, but does that mean 222 squared? Is 222 squared 2,000? No. What this means is each item in the list has been squared, and then you add them all up. So if I had a 2 in the list, I would square it to get 4, and so on. Square every item, add them up, it'll give you the sum of the squares, which comes in handy later on when you're doing variance without the use of the formula in the calculator. These two items right here are standard deviation. Standard deviation. The difference between the two is this. This is a sample, standard deviation, and this is a population, standard deviation. S for sample, and then this symbol for population. The difference is both of them have a formula that are identical. The difference between the two is the population divides by n, the number in the population. The sample divides by the population minus 1. That'll come in handy later. What is n equals 36? Number of items in the list, yes. Okay, and then if you scroll down, use the down arrow, you'll go see the rest of the items in there. What does this mean? Min X. Smallest number is 1 in the whole list, yes. What is Q1 equals 3? I'll give you a hint. It has to do with this. Have you ever seen one of these before? It's a box and whiskers plot, and Q1 is right there. That's the quartile number 1. What does this stand for? Median, which would be right here. And then Q3 is 8.5. It goes right there. What does this stand for?
Biggest number in the list.
Yeah, biggest number in the list is 20. For this practice problem, you must enter this list into L3. Enter the list in L3 and then drop off the answer to the following question. What is Q3? If you have 6, come up and get 10 million. Let's say you have something in every list, but you don't want to delete all of them, so you can't use clear all lists. You can go to Stat, if you hit the Stat button, and then choose number 4 here, Clear List. You'll come up with that command and then type in the list number that you want to delete. Remember, you have to hit second and then the number of the list that you want to clear out. So if I want to clear out list 1, that's what it should look like. And then hit enter and it'll say done. Homework assignment for tonight.